Today's video, we're going to talk about how to advertise on site and channels with highly engaged users to make more money, or why you specifically would want to advertise on sites with the most engaged users. That is, people who visit the sites often and spend a long time on the website, like a Facebook versus a random blog where you could run a banner ad on there that a person may only go to from a Google search and then never again. So there's a very important reason why this actually is. And for the most part, it's centered around trust. And I'm going to explain why trust, in terms of where you're advertising, matters so much, impacts conversion rates a ton. As a result, makes it very difficult to make money outside of the main platforms that everybody's on. Specifically, let alone, issues with click fraud and putting those aside. The actual trust from the user impacts how much mileage you can get out of an ad space. You can have the same exact ad that runs on one website, you run it on another, you're going to get a whole different conversion rate. That actually applies to different marketing channels as well. You can make 100 times as much money per viewing of an ad through a direct mail piece you send to people out in the mail, in a personal letter, versus that personal letter in an email, because of how people view and trust email versus a direct letter that you get from somebody in the mail that has a live stamp on it and so forth, which we really know that's the case from the letters that we send out from our own firm, as well as other clients where advise the same thing. So a lot of people get caught up as to, they evaluate, like for instance, LinkedIn. LinkedIn costs $60 per 1,000 times of your ad being shown, whereas on a blog it could be $2. But the conversion rates on LinkedIn is much more, and that a lot of that comes down to the engagement level of the users on that website, as well as, of course, the income of the users on that website, how much money they have access and control, the spending of as well, of course. But I'm going to go into detail on this main concept because I thought it was important enough to bring up on this channel, given that a lot of people don't understand the impact or the gravity of how important this is as to picking where you advertise. Not just, when said buyers on this website and this website, how you pick which of the two websites you actually want to be on, get it in front of the same person. Well, it'll still convert differently on one site versus another, based upon the perception of the user that's on those sites. If you stay to the end of the video, we'll have an actual case study for you as well, where you can understand how much more money you can make on one site versus another with the same ad targeting the same audience. So if you were wondering why your campaigns were not successful today, running ads outside of the search engines, trying to get things to work, this will tell you how you can actually get on the right track with it. Which of course, as it comes down to targeting where you're advertising, I'll talk about how to make a good ad and so forth as well. If you don't know who I am before I get into the content, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for clients on their campaigns. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees up front before we can get them a set amount of results on their campaigns. And the reason why we're able to do this is because I've got 20 years of advertising experience and I work on all the strategy and all the campaigns at the firm that we work on and put out, which should tell you something about the quality of information that you're receiving on today's video. We're the only agency, by the way, that offers a guarantee like that, where we can not charge clients fees and we don't get them a profitable result ultimately on their account on behalf of our efforts. So with that said, getting into the content here, the reason why advertising on Facebook and YouTube works so well, it's due to how engaged users are on these websites, okay? Because everybody has heard about people getting rich advertising on Facebook. More so before Google got rid of all the sweet targeting options where you could target people that, let's say, have 3 credit cards. Before that, they would buy data from Axiom, tie that with Facebook's users, and you could target people super specifically there, which you still can, by the way, with a LiveRamp account, where you import audiences from third parties back into your Facebook account, which is a secret in the industry that people are picking up on. But the main thing is people spend more time on Facebook than basically any other website. That's the main site that they go to. So when they see something on Facebook, they trust it, not actually right away, but a lot more than if they saw it on some random website. Because the idea also is partially anyway, that if it's on Facebook and Google's letting it run, pass some sort of checks. And then on top of it, the great thing about Facebook on top of it is you have the reactions underneath the ad, the amount of shares, which adds even more social proof as to whether I can put stock in what I see here on this ad. On top of it, by the way, also on Facebook, if you make an ad that looks like an organic post where somebody's saying, hey, I just bought this XYZ baseball bat and man, I'm hitting 50 times more home runs now than I did before. You can make it look like the rest of the content on the site and get it even more believed, which on a news website, that would be getting an article that looks like a news piece actually being an ad and get a much higher response rate as a result of that. But the main thing is people are going to assume that the ads on Facebook are more trustworthy because most people have clicked on an ad before, at least on that platform as well, and they've gotten something, they probably bought something or thought it was at least cool. It goes into people's perceived thoughts on future ads that they see. Whereas before, people have saw weird ads on weird websites, they've clicked through that and it looked like a scam, and that contributes to the perception of ads outside on smaller websites and so forth. Bottom line, ultimately, the more time people spend on a site, you can bank the higher the conversion rate you're going to get on that traffic. So if the cost of the traffic is the same on website A versus website B, the one website with the most engaged users is going to convert the best and be the best value. The reality is, though, this website here that barely anybody goes to, the cost per click is going to be 20 times less than it is on this website, and it offsets it. But what I'm telling you is, and somebody who runs ads as my full-time job, just doing strategy and nothing but, you're still going to always want to spend your money first on the sites with the higher engagement, even though it's more expensive. Even if you're talking about LinkedIn, where a click can be $6-8 a click, versus on another website you can pay 20 cents a click. It's still more worth it to run your ad on LinkedIn at the end of the day because of the trust of the users there, and it follows this basic rule of more engagement means higher conversion rates. That said, your goal is to get with the site with the most engaged users that still have your buyers on it and what you're allowed to advertise. Key thing being they have your buyers, because getting on Facebook, if your buyers aren't there or you can't find them, or they don't let you advertise on it because it's a supplement or something like that, and Facebook won't let you advertise, then you have to go other places because you're forced to. The main thing is, ultimately on a Facebook, that's usually going to be your first choice for non-search engine advertising. It has your customers on it, no question. The question is, can you narrow your targeting enough to get rid of all the waste circulation that your ad shows up for people that would not ever want to buy no matter what you said, so that you can make money after your expenses? Because you can't advertise to the whole world there to get in front of the 10 buyers who are going to buy, because it's going to cost so much to get in front of the other people that your ROI is negative. You got to figure out how to narrow down as close to the 10 that will actually buy as possible, so it will be profitable. And depending on what you're selling, this is easy. If you're selling, like your wedding floral services, or if you're a wedding florist, marketing to people that have recently said they're engaged on Facebook, which is something you can do and something we've done before, you can actually make money really easily because it narrows down to the exact of a city that might be 10 million people. It gets it down to the top 25,000 or less that actually would want to buy, that have gotten engaged in the last year. And so you've gotten rid of the other 99% of the waste circulation, and now you can make money. In some products or services, like you're selling a wrinkle cream, there's enough, 1% or greater of the population as a whole are candidates for this product. So you don't even have to worry about narrowing your targeting at all. You can just blast it out there to everybody. So in that case, Facebook would be your first choice, assuming they let you sell the wrinkle cream on the site in the first place, which they're pretty picky. And it's, and even if it is working, you shouldn't just rely on that, because Facebook I've witnessed this myself multiple times now. They can just shut you down at any time just by making a simple mistake. And for that matter, you should never rely on one traffic source and get fat and happy off of it, because you never know what's going to happen with it. Maybe the performance goes down, and this is very common. You shouldn't rely on that at all. You should be using the money you make from one to get the next going, and the next going, and the next going. Not to just go overboard and do too many at once, but specifically do everything you can to get the one working. Spin off half the profit you've already now made on the one to get the second going, and so forth, so that 5-10 years down the road, you've got a whole bunch of different channels, that a little here, a little here, a little here, and basically anywhere your buyer is. If you know your buyer's on a platform, your goal is to set up ads there with the tracking, find out how to get to the small portion of the traffic on that site that will be profitable, then use your money you're now making to get the next channel going and so forth, which a lot of times we'll run ads even like on Pinterest once we get Facebook ads working. And then once you get your Pinterest ads working, then we can get ads on TikTok working, and so on and so on and so on. So with that said, I have a basic list here where I can basically explain, based upon the experience of us running campaigns in the past, the highest converting sites or channels that you can advertise on online outside of search engines. So you understand basically on a basic level where you should start out with and what makes the most money so you can go there first. I do not have some of them, I don't have every site on here. I don't have Pinterest. I don't have TikTok on here. This is basically a main tool because I could make a huge list of places to advertise here and different networks specifically, because you can get on, run banner ads on millions of websites, and you can do that via 20 different advertising networks technically. So this is a basic tool or guide as to know what you start out with first versus second versus third and so forth, and why specifically, and how that is going to impact your results. Before I do though, if you haven't ultimately got to where you want in terms of results, you can either learn it yourself or you can hire somebody who knows what they're doing. Most people you hire aren't going to know what they're doing. 90% of them, they say they know how to run ads, don't, and they're going to take your money and they're going to run with it. Ultimately, in either case, this information on this channel has everything that I use to guarantee results for clients that are firm on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed to a channel so you can learn it, you want to subscribe to this channel so you can get that information. Similar to that, I have a fantastic blog on my site where I document all the strategies we're using to get guaranteed results for clients that are firm as well. On top of that, with screenshots, with everything you need, and you should definitely check that out as well if you're a person that wants to learn how to do it themselves. If you want somebody to do it for you that just for sure can get you results, that's of course what we do at our firm here, and we've been doing it over a decade now on a guaranteed basis, like I mentioned earlier in the video. If you reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com, I'll have a conversation with you about what you're doing, and I can get you a projection of your results and also what we can guarantee in terms of results along with it short term. So if you're interested in that, don't be shy to reach out. We can at least see if we can work together. I don't work with just any client. We got to know we can get great results for that client. Otherwise, I'm not going to work for free, obviously, but we'll try to see if we can make something work. On top of that, or similar to that though, I also been selling ad templates. This has been very popular in the recent past. I don't know why other agencies don't do this, but every single time we work in a niche market and we get great results, we offer that template to other companies that are operating in other markets geographically, different city, different country, and you can then take the template of the winning ad, winning campaign, winning landing page template, buy it from us, copy paste it into your ad account, and get the same results we've got built up over years for yourself with none of that time and effort and money, more importantly, it took to get to those results. At the very least, you should reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com, and I can tell you if we worked in your market and what results we've got in your market so you would know what you stand to gain from it. And with us having worked in over 100 plus different niches, the chances are quite good that we've already got you the results you're looking for. And so you at least should ask and find out just to see. We got people using these templates to start other businesses as well. If you want to start a turnkey business, take the 100 plus different niche campaigns that we have, pick one, install it in your account, either sub out the work or take the leads and sell them to other businesses in that space like we've had several people do, or of course, get the product from China so you can sell it. You have a turnkey business, and you'll know that it works up front and what ads you need to make it work, which, let's face it, the hardest thing to do to get an online business to work is to figure out the ads that work. And why start another business where you got to figure it all out for yourself when you can just start with what works? If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com, of course. I'd be happy to speak with you about that, let you know what niches we have and so forth. Getting back to the topic at hand here. So the number one site you're going to want to advertise on that has the highest engaged users, as I already talked about, is going to be Facebook right off the top, especially since they have the news feed ad there. Because one of the things that makes Facebook good is as you're scrolling and looking for the organic content, it's blended within the organic content, that is the ads. On a news website, if you were advertising there, you absolutely would want an article because people ignore banner ads. It's not to say banner ads can't ever work, but your best bet is to be in the content that people are normally looking at and look as much like not an ad in the regular content as you can, because that works the best. That is having what they call a native article, where it looks like a regular news article, but really it's pitching a product and people don't even realize it's an ad. That typically works the best. If you sell something it's really amazing, or you reframe what you have so it seems amazing now, you offer a 200% money back guarantee, or you offer a low price guarantee, or you're going to give people a cash bonus if they find something that's more expensive elsewhere, doing something crazy like that, like we love to do at our firm, which makes banner ads work. You can make banner ads work just as much. You just have to get and be a little bit more exciting about what you're doing and have something that's worth paying attention to in that case. But on Facebook, the newsfeed ads work the best. If you ran Facebook ads, you know that. And Facebook has the highest engaged users. They trust what they see the most, at least as much as they can trust, and you should start there. Once you've actually got your money, make money there, and you want to diversify now, like I mentioned, you should. YouTube, honestly, is going to be the most common second place that we go. YouTube has better targeting options than Facebook. If you haven't seen my other videos, I talk about how if you want to sell pool tables, which we've done, you can actually target people that are in market for a pool table on YouTube. Either they're watching videos about how to buy a pool table or reviews of a certain pool table, which are both great things. But also if they just simply typed in buy pool tables on Google in the recent past, in the last month, and target them while they're on Facebook, while watching a different video, not necessarily about pool tables, but they recently, searched to buy a pool table, and therefore you can get in front of them, and it's almost as good of an opportunity for you there. So because you can do that kind of thing on YouTube, works rather well. You can tap into people that going back to the waste circulation thing, you're only showing up for people that are great prospects, and you don't have to advertise to the world to find the person likely to buy a pool table from somebody soon in the future. Normally you may ask, well, why don't YouTube then, if you can target so well there, you do that over Facebook? The reality is though, it's a little bit harder on a YouTube ad to get people to click through that ad because they're in mode of, hey, I just want to relax and watch some videos. So it's harder. You have to have a better offer to get them off their butt and engage with the ad, so to say, versus Facebook. Facebook still has more engaged users than YouTube. I mean, there's some power users of YouTube that spend hours and hours and hours on YouTube, but a lot of times people go there and they watch a video and then they're gone. Whereas people spend more time on Facebook and it's more of a home base for them. Because of that, it's going to convert a little bit better than what they see on YouTube, so to say. Also, I would say because Facebook's a little bit more strict on what you can advertise there versus YouTube, it's a little bit less strict. And as a result of that, they've seen some sketchy stuff there, and therefore people aren't going to trust what they see there as much, okay? So I'll tell you though, if you get Facebook ads to work, YouTube ads will work almost every single time because it has highly engaged users, respectively. That's almost as good as Facebook users. And for what it doesn't have in terms of engagement from their users, it makes up for it in how refined the targeting options are. So I would always kind of go there second. If you get that to work, that's the time when you should get into the LinkedIn / Pinterest / TikTok. For the most part, those are going to be my next place to go because they're pretty good engaged users, but not quite as engaged as your Facebook and your YouTube, so to say, and convert a little bit less, but still pretty damn good. If you get things to work on Facebook and YouTube, it'll work on these other platforms. It's just a matter of how much. You got to set up your tracking right, dial everything in so you're not overpaying per click, because there's a certain cost per click that's going to get you the ROI that you need then in that case. And you just got to discover what that is for each platform, given each platform is going to convert a little bit better than the other. You got to find that out. And instead of getting carried away, I recommend, again, just do one at a time and basically every client that we work with at the firm, as we're scaling up, we're going into the next platform, the next one, we're going to be spending 10, 20% of our budget at any given time on new stuff that doesn't convert well. And that might frankly take months and months and months to get working, but that's fine because the 10% isn't going to bring down our overall return on investment average from our online advertising, and it allows us to build future growth potential in our overall online advertising strategy, which is something I would recommend directly to you as well. So once you get things working, instead of just taking all the money to the strip club, you take the money, you put it into the next platform, at least most of it, and you run that for a few months until it's working, and then you do that again and again until you've got every last platform you can working. Then you got a really redundant, really strong business. The next thing in line, believe it or not, is niche forums. I love niche forums, in which you never really hear about these too much anymore. But this is like your forum basically where, similar to how Reddit works, but you got a bunch of people talking about some weird video game, or might be plumbers who all congregate and talk about their plumbing businesses there. These forums are actually, if they're active, they usually have users that come back regularly, like every day or every week, to that forum to engage in it. And at least that's what you're looking for in terms of the forum. Because they have stats on there that says the last time somebody's made a post, and if it hasn't been like in the last day, it's not, I would just stay away from it. If it's got heavy repeat traffic, it's a gold mine still. Just as good as these top social networks are. And you can run your banner ads there and it'll work great. So that would be the next thing I would always want to try to do. From there, you can get into your Twitter. Twitter has engaged users, but people don't spend that much time on the site, and it converts as a result of that a little bit less. Then you're going to get into your subreddit. Some users spend a lot of time on Reddit, but for the most part, people only go to Reddit a little here, a little there. It's really not a big part of their daily repertoire. Ultimately, and what works on Reddit is subreddits specifically. You target a whole subreddit, not keyword targeting. I mean, remarketing, yes, you can do that, but beyond remarketing, it's targeting the beauty category if you sell a beauty product, or selling a auto performance product on a auto performance subreddit. Why? Because it seems to have less bot traffic, and ultimately you have a lot of trust from users if you're the one advertising in that subreddit consistently. They see it again, which is the same thing with the forum, by the way. And so anyway, with that said, that's one of our go-tos as well. Usually at that point in the game, we'll do subreddits. Then I'm going to go into the niche blogs that are regularly visited, and similar to that are niche news websites. The niche blogs where you've got something industry related, an industry related blog, or just like a blog that if you were selling a makeup product, you could get on Kim K's blog or whatever. And that is a high traffic blog. If it doesn't get thousands or tens of thousands of visits a month, it's not a big enough blog that I would even advertise on. Why? Because there's highly likely just not enough engagement to get serious users to click on your ads there. That said, on the flip side, you don't want to go on blogs with tons and tons of traffic either. What I've noticed is the best traffic is you got a small group of people that might only be like 1,000 people, but they go to this blog all the time. And those sites, the traffic is the best. You basically are getting a small business owner who probably isn't smart enough or sophisticated enough to get into having click bots clicking on the ads on those sites, which the big sites are all getting into that. And I don't care who you're talking about. Forbes, whatever, they're using click bots, and your ads are getting fake traffic, mostly fake traffic. You can't even advertise on those sites profitably because of it. A small operator that just probably runs it with a couple guys, they're not doing that, and the traffic's real, and you're getting a highly passionate user. If you have an industry-related or product-related blog, I would go there. And then finally, the niche news website. So a news website in your industry again, or about, like if it's a gamer news website, I'm going to go there as well. And those are actually pretty good as well. In some cases, the niche news websites are going to be even better than some of these social networks. Particularly, here's a pro tip, doing direct ad buys. So the one thing that's really a problem, I keep repeating this kind of on this video, is bot clicks. Bot clicks will drain your ad profitability, so you have no chance to make money. And so many business owners are relying on them. If it's a more bigger site, or you're thinking that you've got a bunch of bots clicking your ads, what I recommend you do is just go directly to the business owner and say, how much, you got to obviously talk to the advertising department or whatever, how much to buy a direct spot on your website. I want 30-day placement where it's permanently plastered on this part of your website where you typically have this AdSense block where ads are being hosted up by Google that you can target via Google, I just want the ad on there. That way, bot clicks ain't going to drain your budget right away and then poof, your ad's not on that site anymore, for that matter. Or you can actually, because you could target a single website with your banner ads via Google Display Network and see if it works. If it works, I've talked about all the time, well, we'll go directly to that website and then do a direct buy because you're going to get the advertising cheaper than if you did it through Google because Google is going to get their cut. Also, I just want to make sure my ad always shows up there. There's no guarantee it always shows up for everybody. And if it's working, I want permanent placement there so I can get all the impressions I possibly can, if you will. But the bigger thing is, because of the bot traffic, you're going to get real users and real eyeballs. So that's the main reason why these direct buys are coming up. And for that matter, what you'll notice, there's a trend about these smaller niche blogs and so forth. They don't even use Google AdSense to monetize their website anymore. They do these direct ad buy, or they sell directly ad spots on the website because they know the quality of the traffic and they can sell those spots for more than what they can get through Google AdSense. Why? Because there's so many bot clicks on Google, on the general web, running banner ads on the general web. So people are willing to pay very low cost per click. If you actually have a real site with real traffic, you're getting less per click than what you deserve for the quality of traffic you have. So you either get into the game of doing the bot clicks yourself so you can get a lot of clicks, and even though you're only getting 15 cents a click, it's cool, or you don't play that game at all and you sell real users, you don't use bots to click your own ads, and you sell direct ad buys and you price the ad buys appropriately for what that traffic is really worth. For that matter, if you're struggling to get your display strategy going for yourself, that is non-search engine ads, which in a lot of markets, you're only going to make 10% of the money you can make if you don't figure out how to run ads outside search engines. If you're stuck and you can't grow your revenue anymore, reach out to me and at least get a coaching call where I can look through all of your ad strategy, your website, your sales strategy, pricing strategy, and I can let you know where the bottleneck actually is in your business. I'm very good at spotting this because I've worked with hundreds of companies in the last decade plus doing this. And I have to figure out where these bottlenecks are in order to get our ads to work, or just not waste our time trying to make ads to work for something that ain't going to work because there's something else overarching, a bigger overarching problem. I've been doing this for several months now, doing these 30-minute coaching sessions. And whether you're agency or non-agency, I'm able to uncork your business as a result just by asking you a few questions. And every single person who has been taking me up on these coaching calls that I frankly have been offering, because a lot of guys, you're trying to get your ads to work and really it's got another issue going on. Every single person I've been doing a coaching call with has come back for at least another coaching call because the information was so good that I was offering them in that short amount of time already. If you're interested in a coaching call, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com as well. But with that said, okay, now you get the general gist of what I was trying to mention here. The lower traffic sites with visitors that don't visit to the site again and again. Because a low traffic site, but that doesn't have repeat visitors, that's not good. You want a site, more importantly is the frequency of the user, but then also the time on site. Somebody who comes back to the site again and again and spends a long, long time on the site. Those users are going to be the best to go after and give you the highest conversion rates and therefore the highest return on investment for you, for that matter. To give you a case study, as I mentioned, I would go through a couple case studies here at the end of the video if you stayed to the end. We had a company who buys life insurance policies, and we ran ads, like the same deal, like I told you before. Everywhere you can run ads that's profitable, you want to run those ads so you can have to diversify your marketing, if you will, and source of revenue. We ran ads on the general display network on millions of websites where any website you see a banner ad, you can actually advertise on those sites, typically using Google Display Network campaigns. We ran ads on Facebook. We ran ads also, of course, outside the search engines. We ran ads a little bit on Twitter. We ran ads a little bit on the Reddit itself. And pretty much that was it. With that said, okay, the display campaigns, and with display campaigns on Google Display Network, you typically have to have, if you're generating leads like we did for this client, you got to be able to score the lead, know it's a good quality lead so you don't have bot clicks filling out your form which these bots are trained to fill out your form so that it tricks you into advertising more on those sites. Fed that information back into our ad account, and we actually did really, really well advertising to people who recently were looking to sell their life insurance policy. Also, in addition to that, people who had cancer, because people who have cancer were more interested in selling a life insurance policy, and those policies were also similarly worth a lot. That was pretty profitable. We were generating leads for around $100 a lead, qualified lead itself. Whereas on Google, we're paying even a little bit more than that. The reward of running display ads correctly is you can actually break out of not only just having to rely on Google search, but you can actually get a better ROI from it if you know what you're doing. That said, we also targeted websites that are about, people that, support groups for cancer and so forth, actual forums and so forth. And the cost per qualified opportunity on those sites was certainly less, which was a great deal that we were able to figure that out. And we were paying more so $60, $70 per lead there, because we had a targeted ad that said, need money for cancer treatment, click here, blah, blah, blah. And then, we got the person in the door and then explained to them once they got to the landing page that we offer money for cancer treatments and it's available to pretty much everybody, and which we were able to say that because 1 out of 3 people have a life insurance policy already. So we don't have to verify that they have the life insurance policy on the landing page itself. But we ran the same kind of thing on Facebook via the groups. They were organically reaching out to people in the cancer support groups there, but also advertise to people that were in those groups on Facebook by having a video that through the channel or the group admin got to where they were allowed to run a video. You can remarket to someone on Facebook if they've watched at least 4 seconds of a video while they're on Facebook after they leave that group. And that in itself generated leads far cheaper and of a little bit better quality than what we were able to do on the forums and on the general web where people are looking for information about how to deal with cancer. Cost per lead on Facebook was more like $20, so way better. And that's pretty consistent and standard as to what you will see if you're going to run into doing things, targeting the same audiences. That is, you can target a support group on Facebook and users that go there versus a support group on the general web, on a forum, even on a subreddit. It's just not going to convert the same, even though if you get your offers good enough, your ads good enough set up, then you can make it all work. It's just one's going to have a little bit better return for you, and or you're just going to get less conversions because you have to bid less per click. Like I was mentioning, you're going to have to do earlier. So that's a really good example of how the different sites can convert based upon you're basically targeting the same kind of users ultimately, and how the cost per lead is going to differ based upon one platform versus the other. And actually the lead quality can vary a little bit, even though mostly what you're going to find is the cost per qualified opportunity. When you measure things at that level, it's going to be, at that level, it's going to vary what you're paying platform to platform, if you will. And you study to see how many leads close, of course. If you're paying too much for a qualified opportunity, you bid less, and then you'll get a trickle of traffic still on those platforms, but at least it'll still be profitable for you and you can work it. So that's a really good example of how to do things. Now, that said, okay, not always was Facebook going to work the best. We had a company who sold push notifications on, if you have a mobile app and you want to monetize the mobile app at a higher rate, you can have these push notifications that show up on the mobile app while you're using it. And we were promoting that to app developers that not developers, but that run an app or own an app, specifically to the CTOs of these companies. And we were promoting a white paper that basically mentioned, here's how to monetize your app at a higher level, so to say. And with that, the cost per lead that we were getting, when you're just looking at a cost per white paper download itself, we were paying around $60 per download on Facebook, okay? Paying around $2 a click on Facebook. Ran the same exact ad on LinkedIn. We're also getting the same cost per lead on LinkedIn, even though the cost per click is roughly 3 times higher, okay? So with that said, we were getting in front of similar users in either case because we were able to target on both platforms chief technology officers, same person, but the cost per lead in that particular case was similar, even though the cost per click is way different and the cost per ad showing is different, but it converted at a much higher rate on LinkedIn than Facebook. So the moral of this story is LinkedIn has better quality traffic than Facebook, even though we were able to get the same cost per lead on both, so to say, which at the end of the day, it's just really all, like I was saying a minute ago, it's really what your job is to discover what the value of the traffic is on each platform, and then adjusting what you're willing to bid on each platform so you get the cost per opportunity or cost per lead that you're looking for. In this particular case, though, we didn't have to find a way to chisel down what we were willing to pay per click because it converted better on LinkedIn. And when you look at LinkedIn and Facebook side by side, at least when you're talking about business to business, you basically are going to end up converting about the same. So don't assume, I guess what I'm trying to say here is don't assume Facebook is the only one that's going to work well. If you're barely getting Facebook to work, run your ad on YouTube anyway. Run your ad on LinkedIn anyway and see for yourself that it can also work. Even though you're struggling, just keeping your head above water on Facebook, because these other platforms are almost just as good. And most people think Facebook is really just the thing that works because everybody talks about it. The reality is, even though clicks are expensive on LinkedIn, it converts really, really well. And on YouTube, people don't know how to make video ads, so you don't hear a lot of people talking about how well it works. But if you put together a good video ad using the scripts that I talk about on this channel, which you can search for on my channel homepage, how to make a video ad script that works every time, you can get that ad space to work, whereas your competition can't or other people can't because they don't know how to put together a good script or good flow on a video to suck out demand from those same users that you can get, you ultimately are getting on in front of on Facebook and on these other platforms and get your share out of that platform as well. And really that's what it's about, going full circle here. You find all of the different places that your buyer is, you advertise on all of them, and you ultimately suck out whatever value you can on all of them. And then that'll diversify your income and make you the most money. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said conversion rate was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.